If you're here for knockouts, bad blood, and the best breakdowns, you're in the best place in the whole wide world. I'm your host today, Kelby Cedarquist, and with me is Derek Schramm. We're back from our first live feed, and we're going to continue on with the post-fight review. How you doing?
Yo, yo, yo! How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing
We
good.
should be back from the technical difficulty, so now we're going to be having a nice little 15-minute video on our main card, our main event that'll be going out. And this is going to be the rest of the main card, maybe some prelims, but right now let's just get into it since we're running a little bit behind. And we're live! Oh my god, we're live! Let's keep going! Norma Dumont versus Joseline Edwards. We're kind of talking about a little bit. I was just saying it's kind of hard to make your name for yourself in the women's bantamweight division right now.
Yeah,
You have two superstars, and Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. Legacy-wise, you also had Ronda Rousey since she's back in the news in her MVP event later next month.
yeah,
Obviously a bantamweight too. So like it's the star division for women, or at least that's where the biggest names are. I think the strawweight's probably the best. So, and both these girls, Norma Dumont, Joseline Edwards, they're good fighters, but they haven't necessarily made that name for themselves yet. And
yeah.
frankly, neither one of them necessarily made a signature performance, but Joseline Edwards gets the job done. And now, guess what? She's going to be a top 5 women's bantamweight now, and she's fresh blood at the top of that division. So it's definitely a setup for some interesting fights later on. What are your takes on it?
Um, Dumont definitely started off the beginning of the round with strong movement, was actually outpacing Edwards, but then Edwards began to take over at the end of the first round and started mixing up body kicks, sharp jabs, and some very good forward pressure, which ultimately continued on throughout just the whole rest of the fight, which led to Edwards getting the unanimous decision 29-28, 29-28, and a 30-27. I mean, it was a good win by her, and I'm very excited for her taking down the number 3 ranked Norma Dumont. I mean, that's definitely going to position herself and definitely higher in the rank in the division where we needed a lot more of these women fighters to keep moving up and keep possibly challenging the title contention, which is going to be
Yeah,
fun to see how she does.
and like that's kind of the thing. I just pulled up Joseline Edwards' record. So she's 9-4 in the UFC.
Yeah.
So not bad. She has had some issues with making weight.
Okay.
Back in 2022, 2023, and 2024. She's won all the fights in which she's missed weight, but 2 of those were split decisions.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I absolutely Norma Dumont's biggest, the high level win. Probably the best fighter she's beaten. Um, and then I'm looking at these losses. Eileen Perez comes out. Carol Rosa comes out. Jessica Rose Clark. But I'm looking at the division. Um, so Norma Dumont was number 3.
Yeah.
Above her is Pena and Pennington. You know, so yeah, she's going to slide right into that top 5, right below Joseline Edwards. And number 4 is Caitlin Vieira. Number 5, Diana Santos. Number 6 is Eileen Perez, who Edwards has that loss to. Now it's just kind of one of those things. Where do you put her? Because you have to settle the business between Kayla and Amanda, and after that, frankly, both those ladies might be leaving
Yeah.
afterwards. Pena being the former champ up there, she had beaten Raquel Pennington. Pennington's probably looking for an opponent. I would say that would be probably the next fight, but I'm not sure if Joseline can beat Pennington. But let's talk more about the fight that actually happened last night instead of future matchmaking. What are
Okay.
your thoughts on it? How'd it go for you? Absolutely, like you mentioned, Norma came out good, and Joseline Edwards kind of just took over the fight as it went on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. It was one of those just like a true regular fun fight. Somebody started off strong and the other person came in and just completely took control and maintained that control throughout the rest of the card. It shows she showed why she should be in the UFC. She definitely showed why she needed to move up in the rankings and make a name for herself. I didn't really know too much about her before coming into this fight, and I was thoroughly shocked. I predicted the fight completely wrong, and she proved me wrong.
Yeah, I didn't know much about them. Yeah, frankly, either one of them too much. I know a little bit about Norma Dumont since she's just kind of been in the top of the division a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, looking at the strikings, 121 total strikes to Norma Dumont's 66, literally doubling, or one strike shy of doubling.
Yeah.
uh,
Literally.
her, yeah, so it's just, she put in the higher work. Norma Dumont, neither one of these women could get a takedown to save,
No.
save their life, even though they were shooting. Um, and isn't that that's kind of the issue in you know, uh, women's MMA? It's just like the danger threat that they put out there. It becomes muted, and frankly, it's weird because it's like people always make these comparisons that the women's game is behind the men's, and obviously it is going to be a little bit behind because of it got started later, and there's going to be more. Frankly, in terms of talent pool, there's going to be more elite male MMA fighters than there will be elite women MMA fighters, just
Yeah.
with the sport women go into. Same with why in MMA you're going to get a lot better smaller guys that are fighter than big guys, because big guys are going to go somewhere else. They're not going to get punched in the face for money.
No.
They're going to go run a ball down the field.
Yeah, that you're 100% correct on that. Um, if you want to, get into the next fight.
I want to yeah, I just feel bad because I want to say more about this fight. It was a good fight, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, I just don't have much to say about it.
I just need to see more out of Edwards after that. My antenna's up. My radar's
Yeah.
showing. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the. This was a fun fight. Rafa Garcia wins a decision against Alexander Hernandez. You got to feel for Hernandez, but frankly, Rafa had his number.
This is one of those fun lightweight main card battles between Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. Rafa Garcia technically had a higher pressure style, proved to be maybe like a little bit too much for Alexander Hernandez, despite facing early pressure in the fight. Garcia found his rhythm, managing to control the fight and landing effective shots to secure the pretty much it's a clear-cut victory in my opinion. They did score 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 via unanimous decision. But it was overall just one of those fun regular UFC bouts. Do feel bad for Alexander Hernandez, but it's a clear cutthroat business in the UFC. It's always the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
And it's one of those things that's interesting because I actually love the way the stats break down the UFC's website nowadays, how you can find out where the strikes are
Yeah.
during the fights. So you look at this and so round one, Hoffa 15 total strikes to Hernandez 8, but he gets 2 takedowns.
Yeah.
None of those striking though is on the ground. It's all position. Round 2, far more even with the strikes. 20 Hoffa Garcia's, 18 Alexander Hernandez, no takedowns, nothing.
Yeah.
Round 3, you go into 2 takedowns for Hoffa Garcia's, 44 total strikes to Hernandez's 28. And, they're pretty, back and forth with the significant strikes, pretty even. But yeah, just Hoffa Garcia's, when he's able to get the takedown, he's able to land more strikes, even though he's not ground and pounding like we are talking about with Sterling. But he was able to put that work on Hernandez, and it looks like he basically just got tired out. Though I do think Hernandez probably won round 2. He's a tough fighter. I like Alexander Hernandez a lot. Frankly, I'm going to feel bad for this guy if his most defining part of his career was that gang of shit he talked to Cowboy Cerrone just to get beat up, when now being like Cowboy's last signature, beatdown.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm gonna be very sad because Alexander Hernandez is a great fighter, but his record doesn't show that. He's 10-8 in the UFC, and that was
Yeah.
the best. Those 4-fight win streak was the best win streak he got able to put together of Austin Hubbard, Kurt Holba, Chase Hooper, and Diego Ferreira. Good fight. That's a good win streak, but then
Yeah.
he goes against Hoffa Garcia's and, they back in the losing column. And, it just sucks because this is that guy that's just been living in that, 15 to 30 rank area of lightweight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's a tough score for Alexander Hernandez. Great win for Rafa Garcia, though. He looked good.
He did.
Got a good win. I like this fight.
No, it was like I said, it was just a really true fun, just normal UFC great decision fight. It was it wasn't really boring by any means. It wasn't the most special, spectacular thing. And you already said it pretty much. You do feel kind of bad for Alexander Hernandez, and I've completely forgot about the whole Cowboy Cerrone thing. That really is what he's going to be known for.
Well, yeah, it's you know, I'm not gonna go through and look later. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But like, yeah, 18-9. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
has a record. You know what I mean? Like, but 18 fights in the UFC now. But like, 10 wins, 8 losses. That's
Yeah.
almost 500, and it's like,
He's always going to be one of those fighters that's just never going to quite get over the hump. He's a true, true veteran of the game, but you always got to
he's
respect those
become a
people.
veteran. He's definitely becoming a veteran, and it's just weird because, like, I feel like this guy, he should. I always felt I don't know if he was ever going to get to the title. I never thought he was going to get to the top five, but I thought he'd be able to break into the top 15
Yeah.
lightweight, and just like maybe he's been 15 once or twice, but nah, he's never been like that was the best win streak of his career, and I don't think he beat a top 20 guy.
No.
So it sucks, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's get into the next fight on the
Let's
card.
go.
The easy fight of the night. It was fight of the night. These guys are K Richer, so good for them. Davey Grant puts on a whooping against Adrian Luna Martinetti. Whew, what a good fight.
The age difference was definitely a fun thing to see with the older man still getting the victory. I was so happy when I saw Davy Grant just put on the great pressure.
Dangerous Davey Grant.
Yeah, he's I really that was one of the fights I just sat there. I didn't really write too many notes for that fight. I was just enjoying it. It was pretty well high paced. Davy Grant definitely showed why he's still a true veteran. He was more outperformance, more dominant throughout the fight, and just kept great jab work. I mean,
Look at these numbers 164 total strikes to 100.
yeah,
Significant strikes 162 to 99. Everything these guys were throwing was significant.
no,
But like, yeah, just like so much more work. And I believe like good diversity, head, body, legs, from all of them
really
all
was.
around. And this was a on the feet. This did not go to the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at this though. 41 to 18 strikes in the first round, 50 to 35 in the second round,
Whew.
57 to 38 in the third round. Luna just got a pace put on him by Davey Grant, and wow, age 40.
Yeah, and Davy Grant, even at the end of the fight, had just so much more like stamina behind his punches. Even though they both were throwing, but you could just definitely tell Davy Grant was just in complete control. Showed why he's been doing it for a while. It was just connecting harder in general. Every just I don't know. It was one of those just like true, true victory by Davy Grant. I was kind of shocked. I was leaning towards the younger dude. It didn't work out that way. Shout out to Davy Grant.
That's his sixth performance bonus in the UFC and his third fight of the night.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, he's always put on some good fights throughout his career. It's
Yeah, normally, and you know what? His last two fight of the nights were losses against Adrian Yanez and Marlon Vera. So congratulations on putting on one of those shows, but getting the win this time.
making that
And
moolah.
Adrian Luna Martinetti, I know there was some hype going into him with this guy. I know he,
Yeah,
coming off the contender series against Mark Vlogden, who fought last week. I know, there's a little bit of hype coming in on him, but yeah, no, Davey Grant shut that down.
yeah.
And
Well, it's weird with Martinetti. He's just I don't know. I don't want to say this, but it seemed like he's a very high end amateur fighter going up against a true professional fighter. He just didn't have it. It didn't translate that well.
well, Davey Grant's a tough fight for anyone for
Yeah.
sure. But like, yeah, that's the thing. I'd like to see him fight again. I don't think
Yes.
it was his debut.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, it's one of those. Let's see where he goes. I mean, as for rankings, I don't think bantamweight is such a stacked division that I don't think Davy Grant's necessarily, um, you know, needs to break into the rankings off that fight, but like,
No,
he's not like he's making a title run at 40.
no.
But he's one of those guys. Like, man, you know what? If you really want to make it a fun fight and give him in the rankings, put him against Raul Rosas Jr.
Yeah, let's see how the veteran keeps doing against the youngins. Let's see what happens.
If you won, I would do that fight. But like outside of that, I'm a Raul hater. Hey, you say I'm a hater, but that would be a wicked fun fight, and I think he could win that. But as for Adrian, oh gosh, what's his name? Martinetti.
Yeah,
I just want to see him get back in there and fight again and see how he does. I think Davey Grant, he kind of offers a unique fight.
yeah,
Not quite Bobby Green because they don't have a similar style, but just that in your face, smacking you around with his fist type thing. Bobby Green has the hands down, the crap talking. Davey Grant doesn't necessarily do that, but still that constant pressure in your face, going to smack you with his fist. And yeah, that's a tough thing to deal with. But hey, he did deal with it for 15 rounds. It was a beating. So,
yeah.
and it was a beating, but he remained competitive. But for sure, Davey Grant, hats off. And guess what? I told you this. We're going to start looking at this stuff. The new bonus system. The Fight of the Nights are some great Fight of the Nights now that they're shelling out 100K for them, aren't they?
Oh yeah, no, we've definitely gotten a lot more people just standing and throwing, and then when they grapple, they're still
Yeah.
just a throwing. Everybody's trying to get the money. I mean, when you're throwing out an extra 100, was it 100K now? I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Well, and what's interesting is, I mean, now Josh Hokick, there's some hype, but I kind of want to go and look back since they do this. Maybe I'll do this. Let's do it at the end of May. Actually, let's go ahead and review all the bonuses that got given
Yeah.
this year, like those Fight of the Nights, because I'm very curious what we're seeing because from kind of just like top of my head, we're not seeing a lot of the rank guy get these bonuses. We're seeing guys
Nope.
like Davey Grant, 40 years old, who's
Yeah.
put on countless fun fights, and you know what? We're going to give it to you now. He clearly deserved it on this card. I don't think anyone came close. There was one other really good. I thought the Cody Durden fight was pretty good, but versus Philo, but that wasn't fight of the night
No.
compared to Davey Grant and Martinetti. Let's get going to the split decision on the main card. Harney Barcelos gets the win over Montell Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, wow, this could have been another close-ish to a fight tonight, like we were talking about, but I mean, Barcelos used his. I mean, he was a veteran savvy to navigate the significant reach advantage of Quick Jackson. Remember, it was an 8.5 reach advantage. He says, and then when he he almost not Mike. He didn't iron Mike Tyson it, but like he definitely closed the distance to nullify like Jackson's like long range strikes. And Jackson had like no true. I mean, he did not use his long range as an advantage against him. Jackson did land some good jabs throughout the fight, but Barcelo, I can never say his name right. He was more effective with his counter punching and kind of caught Jackson coming in with those heavy hooks and then appeared to do more visible damage, in my opinion. And the clinch control by Barcelos. Oh,
Mm,
yeah, that I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that was a key point. I think that's why I was kind of surprised that it was a split decision. I thought it was going to be more of a 29-20 unanimous decision.
Yeah, I thought Hunter Barcelos clearly won round two, clearly
Yeah.
won round three. Montel won round one,
Yes.
just with work, but once that kind of dipped a bit, yeah, no, that was Honey Barcelos' fight. Got a feel for Montel Jackson. He's clearly a guy the UFC are trying to bump up. He's exciting,
Yeah.
He's had some nice knockouts against Honey Yaha and Damon Blackshear. Both won performances of the night with those. Bro, you got a feel for him. Back to back losses in his career. First time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, his only other loss was against Ricky Simone, which you know, no shame in that loss. He did lose to Brett Johns as well, who's a
Yeah.
good fighter. But Simone, I think, is better than Brett Johns. Anyways, back to back losses, back to back split decision losses to Davison Figueiredo and Honey Barcelo.
Yeah.
And, he's a guy that he doesn't got Dana White privilege, Montell Jackson. I'm not trying to say that. But he's an exciting bantamweight. He's ranked. He was number 14. You know what I mean? Going into this fight, and they're just trying to, I think they're trying to sprinkle in a little bit. They thought he was going to knock out Barcelos and bump him up because he has the look, he has the style, he has the swag. Montell Jackson has it all except for the win streak
Yeah.
now. And he had some wins, but he had a good one, but he needs to start beating those ranked names if they want to shell him up that thing. But like, let's look at Barcelos's last. He's now on a 5-fight win streak. This
Wow.
guy. Ready for this?
Go ahead.
And all these guys except for one, your boy. Clear. I mean, two of them. Let me just tell the names first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Christian Quiones,
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt,
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Simone, Montell Jackson. His last 5 wins.
Mm-mm-mm.
He was not ranked. He has to be ranked now.
Yes, he has to be right.
Has to. That's a 5-fight win streak. One of them's a former champion. I know Cody Garbrandt's probably the one former champ that doesn't do much for your resume.
No.
But regardless, Ricky Simone used to be better than he is now. Unfortunately, he's on the downswing. Peyton Talbot, that was someone they were high on. They're trying to build. Christian Quiones as well. It's someone that I know they were trying to build. He beats both of them. He beats a former champion. He beats a tough dog fighter in Ricky Simone. And now he beats another guy that the UFC was trying to bump up a little bit. His losses, he did lose to Kyler Phillips, who we talked about last week. And he lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, who might be the best guy at Bantamweight.
Yeah.
There's some other guys, Victor Henry, Timur Valiev, that was a fight of the night. And, obviously during the COVID era, he didn't fight as much. And then you go back into the teens, there's wins.
Yeah.
You got to go back, Guy didn't lose from 2014 to 2021. And, he starts his UFC run in there.
Anytime you go on a 5-fight winning streak and all of the people have like decent name value, you need
In
to be ranked.
bantamweight. Yeah, sorry, Montell Jackson was number 14. Get him out of there. Put Hani Barcelos, put him right between Farid Basharat and Raul Rosas Jr. And
Yeah.
frankly, I got the fight for you. Put Davey Grant versus Hani Barcelos.
Honestly, it wouldn't be that bad of a fight. I mean, those are about the
Yeah,
values
fight
they. If the UFC wants to keep giving him like the most B minus C plus rated guys, just throw him Davey Grant.
Or you give him Raul Rosas Jr. and Hani Barcelos can beat him and kill that hype train.
Yeah.
You move him up, he can take out Mario Batista, kill that hype train, and then he gets his title fight after he beats Sean O'Malley. That's Hani Barcelos' next 3 fights. Wins over Rosas, Batista, and O'Malley. Calling it now.
You're ridiculous. That will never happen.
It'd be great if it did.
I mean, it definitely could, but
I doubt it.
that's funny.
All right. We got one more fight on this main card, and we got to eat some crow, buddy. I said it was going to suck. But damn, the heavyweights, they heard our shit talk. Not just
Yep.
ours, everyone's crap talk. And they've been like, no, we're going to at least live up to our names. Ryan Spann gets the second round knockout via right cross.
Woo!
Chase it down.
Man.
Now, the first round, that was a boring heavyweight fight. 2 guys almost out of breath staring at each
Yeah.
other, throwing jabs across.
Yeah.
Buchecha did try to get it to the ground, I'm pretty sure. Let me pull up my stuff.
Yeah.
But,
dude, that knockout punch, man, that knockout punch, you could feel the earthquakes from Chattanooga, Tennessee, all the way from the apex. I mean, my gosh. That was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
All right. And you know what? Spann gets the 100K of that performance of the night. He deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he retires.
Yeah. They get the 100K and walk out.
Yeah, walk out on a win, you know what I mean? Like, he is technically coming off of a win, but like,
brutal knockout.
10-6 in the UFC.
Hey, you hit double digits. You got 10 successful wins in the UFC. That's nothing.
Yeah, it got him his 10th win in the UFC. It got him his 10th win in the UFC. Yeah. Let's look at these strikes. 8-20 round 1. Or, no, sorry, in the full fight. 15 strikes by Spann, only 4 by Buchecha. Buchecha did get a takedown, did try to get a sub. Spann survives. I don't think it was that close. That's just what they're counting. Round 2, Buchecha got 4 strikes going, and then Ryan Spann, it only took him 5 strikes, and he lands the straight, sends Buchecha crashing down.
Yeah.
Beautiful knockout.
Beautiful. The main with the notes I have right here, I wrote down a few notes about this fight. I mean, this pretty much the story of this fight was like Spann's ability to stay upright. Buchecha, a legendary jiu-jitsu world champion, if you guys did not know and didn't listen to the last video of
One of
ours.
the best. Him and Adolfo Vieira, who unfortunately also lost
Lost.
on this card. I was getting 3 of the letters right. I just couldn't get the
Yeah,
vowel.
you're good.
You
Yeah.
know, Adolfo Vieira also lost on this card. Both those guys in the 2010s, these were some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the sport. The hype that they had coming over to the UFC was huge.
Yeah.
And, frankly, as far as Vieira, to me, the thing that pops in my mind is Fluffy. Alexander
Yeah.
Fluffy Hernandez at middleweight, having choked out the submission specialist and his insane scrambling. And Rodolfo always in fun fights. Buchecha not as much upsize as Vieira. But yeah, both these guys, jiu-jitsu maniacs, but they just haven't lived up to it in the UFC, unfortunately. And now, just both of them losing. Again, Spann with I wanted more from Ryan Spann. It was in that run where he got the 4 losses at light heavyweight. I thought, okay, Ryan Spann, right before that, I think he's good. He's right there. And then that happened. And he moved up to heavyweight, and he has the same problem all the other heavyweights have, is that he doesn't throw that much.
Correct.
And it's like, heavyweight didn't need another Curtis Blades.
No.
They need fun. And this was fun. Let's see if it continues.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the fight, Buchecha definitely just kept trying to take him down. Spann definitely did show, Spann was kind of always been knocked for his takedown defense, but he showed it tonight that he has significant takedown defense. And he was able to get back up when he did get down, and then he stuffed it. There was that one sprawl. He sprawled so well that he landed completely on top of him and just pancaked him like in an NFL offensive lineman taking down a defensive lineman.
No, that was good. Let's just quickly run through the prelims real quick. These were some good fights. Nothing to shout about, I'd say, but
Yeah.
we talked about Adolfo Vieira really quick. So Eric McConico, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. He 2-2 in the UFC, so not a lot going on there, but got a very nice win over Vieira. That was a tough back and forth fight. Jason McVeigh is the other man to get the
Yeah.
performance bonus. Another 100K, great for him. Gets the dart on Cedric Dumas, probably the one guy that can compete with John Jones's rap sheet in the UFC. So glad to see that guy lose. Glad to see another unranked fighter get 100K. Michelle Montague gets a nice decision win over Mayra Bueno Silva. That's going to get another Aussie woman up in the rankings.
Yeah.
Cody Durden that was a fun fight. Fun fact for this, ready?
Go ahead.
Cody Durden. Again, one of these guys, no disrespect, not impressive. He's 7-8-1 in the UFC.
Yeah.
Back in the day, this guy would have been cut. But since he hasn't, he does put on fun fights. I wish he could get some more bonuses. You know what I mean? And he's had a good one. He did have that good 4-fight win streak. Charles Johnson was one of those wins, so that's a good one. But he was also coming off of a 4-fight losing streak, and so good to break that losing streak. He would have been 5-fight losing streak if he lost this fight.
Yeah.
So he was definitely going to win. And Rafael Filo, he's a good fighter. But ready for this little stat they were talking about on the broadcast?
What?
Cody Durden has had 6 short notice fights in the UFC.
Gosh.
And I believe all 6 of them on within 1 week notice.
Oh, that's insane.
So we're talking short notice. So he's always game to fight. He's always ready to fight. Anytime, anywhere, any place. This was a short notice fight. You know what I mean? Rafael Filo was supposed to fight Lucas Rocha.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the Rocha pulled out. Couldn't get there. Cody Durden steps in and gets the win. So
Yeah.
you know what? You kind of gotta admire the determination of the guy that just constantly is getting dealt the short straw. loses a bunch, but just gets in there, doesn't give up, and just
Yeah.
knuckles down and gets the win. I have a lot of respect for that, even though, frankly, he probably shouldn't be in the UFC. But
That's one
hey,
thing.
he's fun.
That's one thing the UFC is definitely changing a lot in these newer ages. Is they're if you're putting on fun fights, they definitely give you a lot more of a chance. And especially like you're saying here, if you're taking a lot of short notice fights, they're going to keep you in there as a great fill-in guy. It is a business at the end of the day. But I'm glad to see the UFC's kind of changed it a little bit since their early 2000s, mid 2000s days. But I
So
kind of like the old way of doing it too. If you're just losing, I don't care who you are, kick them out.
there's something about everyone always knows it used to be like the three strike rule. You lose three times in a row, you're gone.
Yeah,
Now, I think they originally broke, there was a couple exceptions. I think the big time when they broke it was BJ Penn's losing streak.
yeah,
And then, we had other people like Cowboy and Tony Ferguson, and there were others mixed in there throughout. What's his name? The former Bantamweight interim champion, Renan Barao. I think he had a nasty losing streak there for a minute
yeah,
as well. And you look at, hey, Conor McGregor would be cut too. Um,
yeah.
but and so you kind of look at those things. It's like okay, and like all the people I mentioned were kind. I mean, Renan Barao at one point was. Nowadays, I don't think people know who he is. I think TJ definitely overshadowed him. But these are fan favorite guys, and this is kind of where you can't say that about Cody Durden.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a little bit. The reason why there's so many now and guys don't get cut is because the UFC needs a big roster so they can put on all these events. Now, I know Luke Thomas has talked about it. I know John Anik has talked about it. I know we've talked about it. There are 13 fights on this card tonight. Could you, if you cut the bottom three, which would have been, Cody Durden would have still made it. He was the fourth fight, so. But if you just cut the bottom fights on the card,
Yeah.
you cut some of these, hey, 10, I think 10 fights for these, especially these Apex shows,
Hmm.
it's kind of the perfect number. You know what I mean? In these shows before midnight,
Yeah.
that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah. No, you ain't wrong.
Um, I don't really have much to say about the rest of the cards. Francis Marshall, was that his debut? I believe he. No, it wasn't his debut. He's 7 fights. He got a good win against Lucas Brennan. That was a somewhat exciting fight. Pretty
Yeah.
dominant. I don't have much else to say on the rest of the fight except for Max Griffin losing, unfortunately, again. Again, one of those guys who's 8-11 in the UFC on a 3-fight losing streak. He's been around, and he has great names on his losing streak, but Victor Valenzuela is not a name compared to his more recent losses. That guy making his UFC debut on Max Griffin. It might be time. So let me just talk about Max Griffin's last couple losses. He's now on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Chris Curtis. That was a split decision, but Chris Curtis just gets split decisions.
Yeah.
He lost to Michael Chiesa, recently retired. He did have a win against Wells, but that was only a split decision. He lost to Michael Morales, one of the top guys at welterweight. Won against Tim Means, but that was a split decision. And he lost against Neil Magny back in 2022, being a split decision. He hasn't had a straight, pure, non-split win since Carlos Condit in 2021.
Yeah.
And he's been up and down before that too. Just you scroll down a little bit, I see another 5 losses in the UFC for the guy. Like Max Griffin, one of those guys, been fighting for a long time in the UFC. Almost 19 fights, but just can't get it done. It looks like, unfortunately for him, he might be needing to get out of the UFC here. But thank you for your time. It's can't say he hasn't been in fun fights.
Yeah. Before we log out here, real quick, next week's fights, if nobody doesn't know, just to give a friendly heads up, the prelim starting at 4 a.m. in the morning. Main card
4
starts at
a.m.
7.
So set your alarms so you can watch Cody Steele versus Dom Marfan. It's going to be a hell of a fight. Honestly, that will be a good fight. These guys are going to put it on, and so get your coffee
Yeah.
because it's going to be fun. And honestly, they know what they're doing because Thimba Gorimbo is the second fight, and there's going to be a knockout in that fight
Yeah.
too. So,
I'm gonna try
yeah.
my best. I'm gonna try my best, people.
They really are bastards because there's some good fights on this
Yeah, there
on
is.
these prelims, but I'm not getting up before 7 to watch fights. I can't do it.
Yeah. I'll be there if I'll for sure be watching the main card.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the main cards. Let's just talk really quick.
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to be making videos throughout the week, but Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates, Benil Darius versus Killin Salkid, and Tim Elliott versus Steve Urseg. And you know what? Shamil Gazia versus Brando. I can't pronounce that last name. There's too many accent marks. I don't know how to do it. I don't know Brando that well. And honestly, there's Tai Tuivasa right below that, but
Yeah.
likely Tai. Hopefully he doesn't get knocked out by Louis Smotherman, but he's probably gonna get knocked out by Louis. I said Smotherman, Sutherland.
Yeah.
Cam Rouse is also on the card.
Yeah, Tim
This is
Rare.
good. They know what they're doing. These are fun, good fights. This main event is going to be banging, and it's going to be a great day to start our Saturday. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what our coverage plan looks like next week. Probably still going to do the Sunday morning live chat, but it's almost like it gives us a little bit of opportunity to do something Saturday after the fights, but who knows? We'll keep y'all
Yeah, we'll
posted.
keep y'all posted.
Kelby,
Yeah.
again, what a great night of fights.
Beautiful, beautiful night of fights. We can end it here if you like.
Yeah, no, see ya. I was letting you do the sign out, but okay.
Real quick and easy. Peace.
Peace.